Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "Words are but symbols for the relations of things to one another, and to us. Nowhere do they touch upon absolute truth." Now, you may be asking yourself, what exactly absolute truth is defined as? However, before you can understand what absolute truth is, you must first know the definition of truth. In your everyday dictionary, truth is described as conformity to fact or actuality, a statement proven to be or accepted as true. Society is known for the truths that develop out of interactions between our minds and the real world around us. This includes sometimes cruel stereotypes that are formed and have become so widely known by society that they are accepted to be true. For example, the stereotype that people of African American descent are more likely to become involved in criminal activity has become what some consider a societal truth. So in other words, truth is what the majority finds and conforms to think is true or consider a fact. Although societal truths such as stereotypes are based on majority acceptance and upholding, there are certain ideas that each individual within society can have their own belief on about what the truth really is. Fate is such a topic. People come to their own conclusions about fate through their personal experience and beliefs. The idea of fate can be interpreted in several ways: good, bad, non-existent, and once these interpretations are created, they form into solid beliefs. These beliefs become truths that one holds as knowledge. This is because if you believe something to be true, no matter the reason behind it, you will consider it true, something that you know. After all, if you do not consider your beliefs to be truthful knowledge, would there be reason to even believe in them? To help you understand further, consider the following scenario. A sick child is laying on a hospital bed, with countless wires hooked up to various monitors and machines protruding from his body. His mother sits beside him with a saddened and deeply concerned look on her face, tears rolling down her cheeks, as he phones her friends and relatives, explaining the situation her child is in. She speaks of the doctor's words, informing her that her child's condition was critical, and that only time could tell how everything would turn out. Soon, relatives start to pour into the hospital room where the child lays motionless, and one at a time, she hears encouraging words from them all. Among the first people to arrive is a woman, a close friend of the mourning mother. In this situation, she is known as Person 1. She was born into a strict religious family, and grew up holding the belief that the higher power she has faith in will always do the best for all of its people. Person 1 assures the mother that the higher power will bestow a long and happy life upon the child, and that this is just one of its many tests. Observing the mother's skeptical look, she begins speaking of a miracle she had seen. Person 1 begins to tell the story of her nephew, who had been on the innocent side of a car accident. Describing that his heart had stopped beating as soon as he had been wheeled into the hospital, that the medical staff had proclaimed him dead, but within a few minutes the boys hadn't flinched, causing the doctors to begin revival methods in hopeful pandemonium. Years later, he became a doctor himself, running his own clinic. She talks about the voice that her nephew said spoke to him while he was unconscious, telling him that everything would be fine, that he needed to go back into the conscious world and live his life. Person 1 is convinced that this was the higher power speaking to the child, and because of this experience, she believes that the sick and mobile child laying on a bed in front of her will survive the ordeal, and will reach the same fate her nephew had. Due to her religious background and close-to-death experiences she witnessed, and her reinforced belief of a higher power, she is sure of her knowledge of this child's fate. As the mother sits waiting for her son's eyes to open, she hears someone slowly walk in behind her. For now, she will be known as Person 2. Person 2 walks in quietly, sitting beside the mother. They both share a minute of silence, each lost to their own worlds, thinking their own thoughts. After a few minutes, Person 2 begins speaking of a time where she had dreamt that she would win $5,000 in the lottery that week. And because of her dream, the next day she went out and bought a lottery ticket. Surprisingly enough, she had won the $5,000, just like how it happened in her dream. The mother's eyes crinkled in confusion as she heard the story, wondering why she was being told this, and what it had to do with her son. However, Person 2 kept speaking. She spoke about the dream of her dog, the one of her sick grandfather, the one of her broken foot, and that all of these dreams had one thing in common, and that was that they all came true. With confusion coating her voice, the mother questioned what all of this had to do with her child. Person 2 turned to look at the mother, explaining that she had a dream last night about her child. She said she dreamt of him getting better, graduating university, getting a job, having a career, getting married and having kids. Her dream had shown her all of this, and she told the mother that she was sure that her son would get better. She tells the mother that her dreams have always come true, and she has no doubt in the world that her dreams about her son would come true as well. After all, if her dreams have come true every night up until this point, why would last night's dream not come true? Just as the last of the visitors were making their way out of the room, the doctor enters. His face grim with tired lines framing his face. He makes his way to the mother. Gently, he taps her shoulder, asking for a minute of her time outside the room. Slowly, she gets to her feet and makes her way out of the door, her eyes shining with unshed tears. He spits out fact after fact, telling her the chances of her son's survival was not assured. The tears that the mother had been trying to keep in were now spilling down her cheeks. Keeping a professional exterior, he breaks it down for her, telling her that he spent his life researching and learning about cases such as these, and sadly, in his experience, chances of survival was 1 out of every 10 people. Her ears ring as he tells her why he decided to specialize in this sickness, why he became a doctor to begin with. He speaks of his daughter, who fell ill to the same sickness, and he remembers people telling him countless times that she would be okay. Everyone would mention that some higher power would make everything better. Though, as he held her lifeless body, he learned that he should have listened to the doctors and facts that told him his daughter's survival was not a likely chance. Now, due to his life experience of the child's sickness, he finds that the child will likely not survive. This is knowledge of the scenario, thus making a truth for himself. Who is right? Which truth is more true than the rest? Will the child live or die? There are infinite answers, and that is the underlying principle of epistemological relativism. It's the accepted belief that the truth will always be relative to the situation, and that no one idea or conclusion will ever be absolutely true in all cases. That what we know will always change and always be relative. No one can actually predict whether the child will live or die, nor does that mean one person's scenario is more likely than the other. I guess we will just never know what happened to that child. Thanks for watching. This is the end of this film. Or is it?